5 Americans from Muskegon, Michigan, including one behind the camera, are about to be honored on stage at the Omuta Cultural Center.
Konnichiwa. We have been in your city before, but tonight it is very special because we, each one of us, can share this wonderful evening with you. Thank you for making us feel so welcome, and we wish you a very, very successful festival.
いかがでしょうか。ご挨拶なかなか日本語が上手な方でございます。もう一度盛大な拍手でお送りいただきたいと思います。
Thank you. Thank you. Many months prior to this event, under the direction of President Ron Gossett, members of the Greater Muskegon Area Sister Cities Organization planned a summer trip to Omuta, Japan to finalize details of a proposed visit by the West Michigan Concert Winds.
And they thought it'd be great if next year the Winds could come over and play during the festival.
Since 1995, Muskegon and the southern Japanese city of Omuta have maintained a friendly and continuing relationship under the umbrella of Sister Cities International. Referred to as the Omuta-Muskegon Friendship Association, the organization has sponsored a series of cultural and educational exchanges. As many as 40 Muskegon area students have visited Omuta, and 60 or more Omuta students have been hosted in West Michigan. On the long 14-hour flight to Osaka, Ron and Frank share some of the products of Mr. Inada's famous nut factory. MCC President Frank Marzak reflects on his previous visit to Omuta.
After a very, very long airplane ride, it was a wonderful thing to be back on the ground and to be so well received by them, like they were receiving members of a long-lost family, and I'm sure there's some connection to those who came to Muskegon. But every one of us was accepted and received so warmly and so eagerly, if you will.
Rocky Kinoshita, seen here greeting Bill in Alberta, provided invaluable assistance during the group's stay. Hideki Rose, employed by the city of Omuta, translated and kept the group on schedule. Members of the Omuta-Muskegon Friendship Association waited the group's arrival at the entrance to the Garden Hotel. The first greeter is Chairman Inada. Within minutes, we learned of the evening's activities.
Mr. Sakanashi is so involved in the Sister Cities program in the Omuta Friendship Association in Omuta. He thinks the homestay is one of the most important things that we do. And one of the years when I was a chaperone, he provided a place for 2 of the chaperones to stay. He can't do enough.
There was a change in the officers of the Omuta-Muskegon Friendship Association.
Before providing dinner at his Chinese restaurant, Mr. Sakanashi introduced Mr. Fukuyama as the new president of the Friendship Association. An extremely generous, influential, and well-known restaurateur, Mr. Sakanashi spared no expense with multiple courses of authentic Chinese dishes prepared by his staff, specially for this occasion.
Chinese miso
A very short night later, we enjoyed a typical Japanese breakfast featuring soup, fish, and rice at the hotel. After a short stop at City Hall, the group led by Mr. Suzuki traveled south. With the aid of his GPS navigational system, we arrived at the dock to take a ferry across the Ariake Sea. Shrouded in the morning clouds, the ominous volcano slowly emerged, displaying its peak as we approached the other side of the sea.
This must be real. This must be the way it was.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not fake.
Like that.
Right, they just left it here.
In 1990, the towering volcano erupted, spewing lava and gases, destroying homes and hundreds of lives. This location in the path of the lava flow to the sea memorializes the homes encased in rock, the tremendous destruction and loss of life. Before lunch, we were given an opportunity to browse in local shops for food items, antiques, clothing, and to learn more of the history of this area. Much to our surprise, the Suzuki family prepared this marvelous picnic lunch, served in an air-conditioned building near the memorial we visited earlier. Little did we know of the gastronomic pleasures awaiting us later that evening. Our next stop, Shimabara Castle. Dating back to 1618 and taking 7 years to complete, the castle now serves as a museum, educational, and cultural facility.
Well, it was the first official visit of the delegation from Muskegon to Omuta, and as a part of that visit, we planted a tree to commemorate it. And it was in November, and the park was beautiful, and there were many people here from Omuta, and we also had a tea ceremony here, which was really a very interesting program as well.
From Suwa Park, we drove toward Mr. Suzuki's summer home for dinner. He is a retired city official. Members of his family are awaiting our arrival.
We met the Suzukis when, through the Sister Cities program, their daughters, Shikako and Satoko, arrived at our house for a homestay 2 years ago. Of course, the meeting was topped off last night by this fabulous dinner. It would be feast, I guess, is what I would call it. It was traditional Japanese food served at the Suzuki's summer home, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful evening with wonderful food and wonderful company, and we got to know Mr. and Mrs. Suzuki and the whole family more, and got to meet the grandchildren too, which was a real treat as well.
In addition to the extravagant dinner, each of us were given crafts representative of the local area. The Suzukis were given gifts from West Michigan. An important part of Japanese culture is the exchange of gifts. To wrap up the dinner and the evening's festivities, Mrs. Nozu sliced watermelon for a final course. From 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. on hot and humid mornings, the group walked, exercised, and explored parts of the city on their own. Lining the main route through the city are many familiar international brand names and a few unique to Japan. Both Japanese and English are routinely used in advertising. Tired and perspired from the heat and humidity, Rocky's oasis in front of his house was a welcome sight. At Rocky's invitation, we joined a 6:15 a.m. radio exercise class in the backyard of one of his neighbors. The voice of the radio instructor and music is nearly drowned out by the high-pitched, omnipresent summer cicadas.
Well, we're here right now in the lobby of the Omuta Cultural Center. This was built about 10 years ago for the equivalent of about $34 million. There are two primary performance spaces in the Omuta Cultural Center. Their big auditorium holds about 1,500 people, and their smaller auditorium holds 500. One thing I noticed right away about their big theater is it is acoustically perfect, as pure as any auditorium I've ever heard. And it has a lot of wing space, much more than we do in Muskegon at the Frauenthal Theater.
The officers of the Friendship Association escorted the Muskegon group through the theater's dressing rooms and administrative offices. The trip's original intent was to determine a time and place for a performance by the West Michigan Concert Winds. Due to the unavailability of the Winds, President Gossett suggested an alternative musical group for the following summer. The Friendship Association Board agreed to the proposal. Certainly one of the world's unique attractions is Omuta's Miike Playing Card Memorial Museum.
Yeah, this is seen from the inside of the Portuguese ship. About 400 years ago. So these are Latin trunk-style cards.
Some of the cards may be brought to Muskegon in the future.
Good evening. Hey, my friend, how are you? How are you? Nice to meet you. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see you.
Under the leadership of Chairman Inada and Chairman Gossett, we have accomplished many projects together, including the homestay group and delegation visits. And I would like to personally thank you too for all your work.
道中どうぞつがない道中でありますようご記念申し上げまして歓迎のご挨拶に変えます。
So we hope you have a pleasant stay in Omuta, and please take care of your health, and please have a fun visit in Omuta. Thank you very much.
Thank you for making us feel so welcome. Thank you for helping us to enjoy Omuta City. And thank you for being friends.
大歓迎をありがとうございます。
Domo obrigado, gozaimasu.
乾杯! The Sister Cities group has a gift for Mr. and Mrs. Inada. It is glass. It was hand-blown by an artist in Muskegon, and it is the only one of its kind, and we're pleased to present it to him from Muskegon.
Thank you very much.
This farm was way up in the hills, as I would describe it, and he was so proud of this farm, and he immediately stopped and started pulling things out of the ground and letting me taste them, and we then went from there up into a nearby orange grove where we had oranges right off the trees, and it was a wonderful experience.
Here and come.
The trip back to town afforded an opportunity to view homes, terraced rice fields, and stands of bamboo, and a chance to adjust to driving on the left side of the road.
カゴの中に担ぎ入れる、担ぐで担ぐ。いいですか？担いで、今度は前に眺めます。お月さん眺めます。
At the Omuta Chamber of Commerce, Mrs. Kina Shida, Rocky's wife, taught the coal dance and the Daijayama dance in preparation for the big parade on closing night of the Daijayama Festival. From the dance rehearsal, we were transported to the Cultural Center and ushered to VIP seats for a wonderful evening of local talent. Immediately following the talent show, we were off to Mr. Sakanashi's barbecue restaurant for the formal farewell dinner.
Yes. Hello, how are you? Good to see you.
今後のご健康とご多幸を祈りまして乾杯をします。乾杯。乾杯。
He said he loved everything that you gave him when he was in Muskegon.
Good. We're honored to be in your restaurant.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
At the invitation of Ken Ida, a Buddhist monk, member of the Friendship Association, and frequent visitor to Muskegon, we toured his temple. We were then taken to his private residence to meet his family. Along with the Inadas, we were served tea, sweets, and received gifts.
Isn't that beautiful? Thank you. Don arigato.
Prior to the Daijayama parade, we participated in the formal tea ceremony, a highly respected art. The preparation itself is both meticulous and revered. Later on, Ron, Bill, and Alberta received lessons in the tea service procedure.
We're visiting this year to see the festival and also to determine when would be the best time to bring the West Michigan winds to Omuta. This festival started about 300 years ago. The purpose is to celebrate Marine Day and to bring rain because it's traditionally one of the driest seasons of the year.
The Daijayama dragons or serpents are constructed of a bamboo framework and covered with layers of Japanese paper. Each of the 6 dragons represents an Omuta district and competes for recognition. On our final day in Omuta, once again we were guests of Mr. Sakanashi and his young son Ryuki, this time at his French restaurant. The Muskegon delegation's dance rehearsal even made the local paper. Wearing festival jackets, headbands, and ready to show all of Omuta their dance steps, the Muskegon delegation proudly celebrated Daijayama amid the intense heat and humidity. Seemingly without notice, it was over.